So when we want to update a resource, we want to use put, HTTP put. So we'll cover that in this video here. And the way we code it up is almost a combination of get by ID and also the post mapping. So let's go through and start coding this. You'll see what I mean, because once you do the mapping of it, it really kind of becomes a combination of the two. So we're going to do public. We're going to turn back a response entity. So we're going to say update by ID. And in this here, we want to get the UID and then also the beer object. And we are going to return back a response entity of no content. So that basically says that we return back an HTTP status of no content, meaning that we received the request and everything happened normally. Now let's take care of the annotations on this. It's going to be a put mapping. And in this case, we can actually use this annotation. So remember, we did the post mapping over request mapping here. That just says that we need the HTTP method post. Same thing here. We're saying that we need the HTTP method of put. And we can say that we want to take in the beer ID. And the way that's going to map, it's going to be /beer or API v1/beer ID. So take the UID value in from there. And again, like I said, it's going to be like a combination of these two. So here we have this path variable, beer ID. We're going to do the same thing here. And then also we're going to do the request body on the beer. So like I said, you're kind of combining the previous two methods together to get that result. And in this case, what we want to do is the beer service. So now we'll pass in the beer ID and the beer object that's being passed in from the web tier. You can see that method does not exist. So I'm going to do Option Enter on the Mac keyboard, create that method, and you can see right away IntelliJ is telling me that there's a related problem. So go ahead and implement that. So now we're going to provide that implementation. And here what we want to do is take that map service and we want to get that beer ID. So I'll return back a beer object. Now we'll take existing. Should do it, then back to the map like so. Not sure we need to do that step, but just in case, I'm going to reset that object there. And I think we are good to go. I'd be curious to write a test to verify that. But just in case, I'm going to set it back there in our little hash map implementation. So I think we are ready to test this out now. So let's go ahead and start the application. I'm going to toggle over to Postman. Not finding that, but this, not found. API v1. Let me pause this for 1 second. I made a mistake here. I'm not supporting a trailing slash on that yet. So now we can see that we do in fact get a body back. And here, I'm going to steal this JSON to do an update against this. And what's important here is that we're going to do a put this time. There's a raw body. And we are not going to be passing back the version or the ID in this. So that's one thing that confuses people with the with these RESTful APIs, is that the ID in the object really is going to be in the URL. So that is going to be a path parameter. We're not going to pass that in. We'll accept it from the path. Beer name, UPC, price, like so. We'll get rid of the two date options. And I'm just going to say updated. We'll add 111 to the UPC. Let's change that to 455. And we'll leave the price as is. And let's go ahead and do a put operation against it. So I'm going to do a put against this URL, including the ID property and these properties in the JSON object. So we can see that I did get back a 204 no content, which is expected. So that means that the request is successfully updated. Now let's go ahead and do a get on this. So we'll do a get operation, see if this did update. So I'm changing that to get. Don't need the body here for the get. So let's go ahead and hd get. And now we can see coming back from our map implementation that we do have the updated. Did add the trailing ones to the UPC, so pointing ahead 455, so it looks like our updates did in fact take place. So let's toggle back over to IntelliJ. So what we added in this lesson is we added method update by ID put mapping, so we are mapping it to the URL. So this is going to get concatenated with API v1 beer / beer ID. We are passing in the path variable, so that gets extracted from the URL. So we take that ID in, and then from the body, we're using request body to parse the JSON to a beer object. We updated our service to update the existing object on the map, and then we're returning back a response entity of no content.